Okay, we shall first begin with the setup.
With those setup?
With setup, yeah.
Okay.
I should say that more appropriately.
Yeah.
So since we obviously don't have a stand for the drum set, or for the drum itself, the snare drum, it needs to be at a height for you where your forearms are almost parallel with the floor. Since we're close to the same height, I figured it's about here. And distance-wise, you want it so that way you're not reaching out very far, but you can't be too close to where you're bringing your arms back. Just want them to be almost at your side, slightly lifted out.
Okay.
And then, so, yeah, come give it a try. Stand where you think you should be. And just hold the drumsticks. Yeah, that looks really good. So yeah, forearms are just about parallel with the floor, and it doesn't look like you're too close. But yeah, you want to keep them lifted up high enough, that way you're not hitting the rim and you're striking the pad with drumsticks instead.
Okay.
Very good. So now, the grip for the drumstick, I'll have you hold one and I'll hold the other, since we don't have two sets. So with these, there is a balance point towards the back. So you don't want to hold it right in the middle. Don't want to hold it too far back. You want to hold it with a little bit of the butt end of the stick still sticking out, the majority of the stick in front.
Okay.
And so now the actual grip is you take your thumb and your forefinger, kind of just place them together with your thumb pointed out, like along the length of the stick, and yeah, your forefinger pinching on the other side.
Okay.
And then you just wrap your other three fingers behind it. Yeah, that looks really good.
Okay.
So now just strike the pad and see if it bounces back okay. If you're too far forward, you won't get much bounce back. If you're too far back, you also won't get much bounce back. There's a balance point where it just feels like it bounces more. Yeah, don't hold it too tight. Try and hold it pretty loose.
Okay.
Firm enough that you won't let it go flying, but loose enough that it'll feel like it bounces back.
Yeah.
Don't be timid about the strike.
That feels bouncy.
Yeah, looks good, sounds good, and you're striking it correctly, so. Perfect. Marvelous. Okay, so yeah, you got your balance point, you got your distance, you got your setup. Show me what you remember from everything that I've taught you so far.
That was quick.
The 3 things. I mean, yeah, but it's just the setup, so.
Okay, so parallel to the floor.
Your forearms.
Your forearms. And it's your like belly button height almost?
Yeah, just high enough or not too high, so that way you're not like
leaning over
like
or down.
Straightening your arms too much or like reaching up too high.
Okay, and then there's a balance point where you need to have space behind your palm and quite a bit of space.
Yeah, most of the stick in front.
Yeah.
So yeah, as of right now, yeah, it look like you have a good setup. So now we're gonna start with some strokes. You ready to drum?
Sure.
Okay, the first one that we're gonna teach is the legato. This one's pretty simple. You just want to, again, not be gripping too tight that you don't get any bounce when you strike the pad, but not too loose that you don't really have as much control over the stick.
Okay.
So all legato is just letting it bounce off and just continuous and smooth. A smooth sound, I guess. You can try it with both. I think I may have taught that wrong. Yeah, I'm doing the stop stroke actually. Let me start over.
Okay.
So the legato stroke, you just want to have continuous movement and almost like you're bouncing a basketball with your wrist. So just like you're bouncing your basketball, not a whole lot of our arm movement, just mostly wrist. But yeah, you want to keep it moving for the legato-ness of it. So try that with just one hand for now. Oh, one thing before I forget, as part of the setup, is when you put your sticks down, the bead or the tip of each drumstick goes on the pad, and you're supposed to be at roughly a 90-degree angle with the sticks.
Okay.
So when you have them in the ready position, roughly a 90-degree angle. So yeah, legato stroke, just continuous motion.
Just with one?
Yeah, just start with one and then we might work into both. So let's do 8 counts. So ready, set, play. Yeah. That looks pretty good. Okay. A little bit more firm though. Okay. Don't be timid about it. It's not going to break. It's not going to hurt anything. Remember, mostly basketball. A little bit more wrist in there. Okay. Make sure your fingers aren't getting too loose or too tight.
Okay.
Yeah, let's rotate your wrist a little bit more. Okay. And then be sure to grip, not grip tight, but just have some firmness with the 3 fingers on under. Okay. Just because I notice you loosening up and letting fly a bit. Good, better, much better. Okay, I'll try it with the left one. I'll just let you switch. Yeah, a bit more wrist, basketball. Yeah, even a little more wrist. There we go. Looks better.
Okay.
Okay, so now for both, if you'll excuse me, it'll look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 on the left. And then at the same time, it's going to go twice as fast. But it's still the same speed that you were doing, if that makes sense, for each hand.
Okay.
So just try 8 on the right, 8 on the left, and then go together. And palms a little bit more flat. There you go.
Okay.
5, 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. So what could be easier is try doing just 8 on the right and then just add in the left.
Okay.
2. You're getting the idea, yeah.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah, that was pretty good. That was nice and smooth. There you go. That had more energy. Try to do it with a little bit more firmness in there too. Just do it. Very good. We'll go on to the stop stroke. Not much longer. There's 2 more things to teach. So stop stroke is the same thing, except for instead of continuous movement, you're going to hit and then stop above in the ready position.
Okay.
And for this one, you need a little bit more firmness in the fingers. Again, not like super tight and no tension. We don't want that. But firmness so that we can stop in the ready position. It's okay if there's a little bit of movement, but you just want to make sure that you don't bounce up too much.
Okay.
So try it with the right hand.
How many counts?
Just do it at your own pace, just to see if you can get the feel. So just do like 1, prepare, and then do another one. Do some more prep strokes, so a little higher backdrop. Down, 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 down. Yeah, it's looking better. Again, try and go a little higher, a little bit more wrist in the back. There you go.
I thought you said we don't want a lot of wrist.
We don't want just wrist. Like if you're doing just this, that's not very good, but you want some more draw, so use a little bit of forearm, but mostly wrist.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Remember, stop right above the pad.
Oh.
Yeah, that looks better. That looks good. That looks good. Okay, so let's try the left hand now. Yeah, maybe let's try that. Let's just try having you just like keep the bead on the pad, actually. So bring it down and then just try to keep it on the pad. But you still have to strike it too. Can't just lay it on it.
What?
As in, you gotta like strike it. But try and keep the bead on the pad. So don't try to bring it up, just put it down, but you still have to strike
it.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now, same thing, but just let it bounce a tiny bit so that you're in the ready position.
Okay.
Better. Better. It's better. Okay, we'll just move on to the last thing.
Okay.
So now what's last is the buzz roll. This one, you want to almost have the legato stroke, but more...
Legato is what we just did.
That was the stop stroke, where you try and stop it in the ready position. Legato is where you bounce it up. So with a buzz roll, what you want to do is you want to like put more pressure into the bead. So that way, instead of letting it bounce up, you like almost force it into the pad.
Can you say that one more time?
You want to put more pressure into the stick, pushing it into the pad, so that way you get the buzz. You don't want to let it bounce up too high or too loose, because then it'll be too broken. But you don't want to be too tight or have too much pressure on the stick, because then you don't get any buzz. Still keep the basketball motion. This one's almost going to be nothing but wrist, and you just want a little height. You don't want to be bringing it up here. That's a different kind of buzz. Yeah, for this one, just keep it down here. Again, that's too loose. That's about where you want it. That's
so
too
like
much
it
pressure.
bounces once?
I couldn't say how many times it bounced. I'd say like 3 to 4. But just supposed to be a buzz like that.
Okay.
And this one, you don't want to be using just pressure with your forefinger and thumb or pressing with your back 3 fingers. You would still want to just maintain the whole grip, but not,
Super
too tight on either, too loose.
Okay.
You just gotta have to feel it out, because there is a sweet spot, and it just takes some practice to feel where it is. So just do it like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So now you gotta like press the bead into it. So now hold it a little bit more loose, almost with just the 2 fingers, and then just bring it down. Yeah, so when you come down, you want to keep your wrist bent forward. You don't want to be bringing it back at all.
Okay.
Getting closer. There you go. So increase pressure even more. Yeah. There you go. That's really close. Try it with the left one.
Ugh.
Actually, you're doing better on the left so far. Perfect. So now, try both. And when you do both, just keep them really close to the pad. Again, not very high strokes, but just pretty small. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, need to be done after this.
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. So you learned everything I learned in 2 weeks, in 10 minutes, roughly.
Sweet.
So very good job. Thank you for participating as the practice student.